Welcome, guys, to our Sports Frenzy podcast show. I'm your host, Josh, and with me is Ron Ham. And this is our final review of the World Cup final show actually itself for the finals today. And my, what a finals it was! Perhaps the greatest, if not the greatest finals that we have seen in World Cup history. Surely the greatest since the 21st century. My, what a finals it was! Just one match that you could not take your eyes off. One moment it seems that Argentina had won it and looked very comfortably, but then here comes France, actually proving why they were the defending champions with an basically two late goals, and then go into extra time. The drama was just scintillating. So we have, as I said before, Ron Ham on our panel. And guys, Ron is a football guru around here, and he's also a French fan. Big up to our commenters thus far. See you guys tuning in very, very fast. Big up Owen Dilworth. Big up Christopher Fuller, Jermaine Watson as well. Big up, guys. Big up, Ron. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Josh. Pleasant good afternoon to all the viewers.
Yeah, man. Yes, Ron. What a finals! What a game!
It had everything, and as you rightfully said, it is unquestionably the most enthralling World Cup final, certainly since the 21st century, and I dare say it will rank alongside the 66 one with the drama, with West Germany and England. Well, you would know,
Right.
especially
With
seeing that you
Earth,
are.
Mr. Earth himself, with an hat trick.
Yes, and
With
we saw
Earth.
shades of that where Kylian Mbappe channeled his Sir Jeff Hurst and scored a hat trick on the biggest stage of all. But what can you say? Argentina, they fully deserved it, I would say, because this is a team that faced adversity. They lost against all the odds on match day one, and then they had to play finals all the way through. And I think on the balance of play, you would feel that if Argentina had lost this game on penalties, they would have felt hard done because they were the protagonists, Josh. They dominated for the most part. But as you rightfully alluded, the French showed championship mettle by staging a stirring comeback. And you figured that they would have had the ascendancy going into extra time. But just like what we saw in the quarterfinals, where Argentina raced into a 2-0 lead against the Dutch on that occasion, conceded two late goals. They, in that particular game, just like this one, they were the ones who you figured carried the bigger threat in extra time. But I have to tip my hat to Emi Martinez because that save from Randall Colomuani, I think that will live long in the memory. And this is a team that, when you look at some of these players, some of them have been written off. People like Otamendi, yes, he made a big error today, Josh, conceding that penalty. But I think for the most part, he actually will leave this World Cup with his reputation re-enhanced. And some of these younger players who we have spoken about on this show so many times, I think they have added uh, probably 20, 25 million pounds to their price tags. People like Alexis McAllister didn't start the World Cup as a sure player, but gosh, he was so assured in possession. He was so instrumental. Enzo Fernandez deservedly winning the young player at the tournament. Julian Alvarez. There were just so many players who covered themselves in glory. So I know that Lionel Messi will rightfully collect most of the plaudits, but I think it was a well deserved victory by an efficient team. Also, obviously, Angel Di Maria. What can we say? He hadn't featured much, Josh, both at club level for Juventus because of injuries and also in this tournament because as he has aged, he has had this habit of picking up a lot of injuries, and they were able to get him on the field for the better part of 60 minutes. And whoa, he was like a man possessed. He was at the heart of everything that Argentina did. And you figure that once he was still on the pitch, then Argentina always had that outlet. And what he did, Josh, which was very important, he made the pitch big because he was keeping the width on the left hand side because normally we see Argentina using Di Maria on the opposite side, and today he was started with stretching the play from wide, and he gave Koulibaly and obviously Dembele no ends of problems with with his footwork. And it's quite strange, Josh, that some persons were even debating that first penalty, because for me it was a penalty, yes,
I
because
thought it was a penalty as
the
well.
way the way the
I don't
way
see
the,
where it
the way
was
the,
actually persons debating it. It was a penalty.
the way how the game is ref nowadays, Josh. Once an attacker gets goal side of you, you really are are caught in betwixt and between, because you can't dangle a leg, and once he feels a contact, he more than likely is going to go down, because, and in this case there cannot be a case that Di Maria initiated the contact. Yes, we can argue until the cows come home as to how much of the contact was there, but there was clear contact from Dembele. And what I normally look at, Josh, is the reaction of the player who is charged with the offense. And Dembele did not look like someone who was really that much upset at the, because sometimes, Josh, we watch football so often, both at international and at club level. So many times when a player is penalized, he's incandescent with range, because he feels that he has been wronged, and you didn't get that feeling from the Barcelona wide man, and he was anonymous. Griezmann was nullified, and you figure that going into the penalty shootout with those players off, Giroud and Griezmann, who you figure would have been two of France's better options from the spot kick, and then with Emi Martinez's imposing record at shootouts, you figure that France were up against it. And as the commenters are saying, it's a World Cup classic that, as
Yeah,
we have agreed
long
upon, is going to
memories.
live long into the memory.
No, Adrian Nicholson. I was actually gifted this French jersey 2 years ago. So it's not a switch, right? So for those persons that are watching the podcast seeing this, is that Mbappe. Mbappe is written at the back. Mbappe jersey. I was gifted this 2 years ago. So it's actually one of the few times I've actually worn it. So I decided I was going to wear it for today's show. But big up yourself, Adrian, Wally, Ara, as well as Owen Dilworth in our comment.
Josh,
And
Josh,
I've seen
quickly,
you
just
one time we have over 50% line. So guys, please like up the stream, as well as if you have subscribed to the channel as well, guys, you can also subscribe. Yes,
Josh, quickly, side note. When Argentina went 2-0 up, and then they couldn't get that third goal, and then the French, you figure that they would not have been that bad for 90 minutes. And yes, they probably just looked like the part for the last 10 minutes of regulation. And when they got to 2-2 and they went extra time, and then Argentina came out the doors, all guns blazing again, and then Lautaro Martinez fluffed his lines. He was probably thinking of the 2014 World Cup, and this is a player who has a big reputation in Europe, but I think he has taken a few million quids off his price tag, because in the big moment, yes, we know when it comes to the penalty shootout, you will still back Lautaro, but he seems a player devoid of confidence, and you figured that with him missing these chances, then France was going to get a chance. But as I said, Emi Martinez, that save, I think it will go down to rival probably Gordon Banks's penalty save from Pele in 1970 on such a big stage, Josh, at that moment, 118 minutes. Yes, we know that Lautaro got a chance from the ensuing passenger play where he headed wide, where you figure that if he had timed his header, he probably would have caught Hugo Lloris out at the front post. But if Colomwani scores that chance, then the ensuing passenger play is different, because you're not going to get a rebound, and then Argentina counter attacks. You're going to get the ball being spotted on halfway. Everything is different. So that save, I think, was as crucial, and I think that gave them the onus and the fillip going into the penalty shootout, that they were not buried, because if they had conceded a fourth goal there, then you really couldn't see Argentina having the wherewithal with so little time left to effect a comeback and to take
comeback.
into the shootout.
Um, Mr. Ham, I was saying earlier on to Levan when the game just has started, in the first 10 minutes, I realized that France did not come out as they normally would have in all of their games since the World Cup start. They normally come out on a very fast pace. They come out swinging. They are actually taking control of the game in terms of attacking. They would normally do that for all the World Cup games in the first 20 minutes, and then they kind of tailor off, right? But this match, right? They did not. It was Argentina. It's all like the opposite.
They
It
seemed
was Argentina
they
that
seemed
came out.
leggy. They seem leggy, Josh,
Right.
in terms of in the first 20 minutes, even before that penalty was awarded. Argentina was a team clearly in the ascendant. They were overrunning the French in midfield, and France just did not seem to have any answers. I dare say Mbappe, Giroud, and Dembele, the nominal front three, they probably touched the ball probably 2 or 3 times in that first 20 minutes. Argentina didn't create any, what you'd say, gilt-edged chances, but just from that. And I think when you look back at the quarterfinals and the semifinals of both teams, you saw where, and I had caution Bones, that when you look at how Argentina, they had been a team on the improve. Yes, separate and apart from that 10 minutes against the Dutch, they had looked a proper team against the Dutch and obviously very efficient against Croatia. And I think they took that confidence in, and France, despite getting the result against England and also Morocco. And we talk about the state of the game, Josh, in terms of especially that Morocco game. But there were issues, and we're not sure as to how badly affected the French team was in terms of the illnesses, because some of these players hadn't trained for a couple of days. But the entire team just looked devoid of confidence, which is strange because they had won all their games, barring the game against Tunisia, which for all intents and purposes was of academic interest because they had already secured their spot into the second round from the group stages when that game was played. So it really had set the tone. Argentina came out, and Josh, quickly before I let Bones weigh in on this. The fact is, this is a team that has an edge to it. Even when they lost that Copa America semifinal to Brazil in 2019, they just seem a team that is just difficult to beat, and they have ferocious intensity in midfield. When you have people like Enzo and people like De Paul, they're going to snap into challenges, and if you aren't up for it, they are going to bully you. They are going to get into the game earlier than the French. I think the French were a bit timid early doors, and I think that set the tone for the entire game.
Welcome, Sherwin to the show, Mr. Bones himself, another French fan. What you made of this game, Bones? Given that your team France did not have the usual far start that normally have for all their games thus far. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Sorry if I'm on the road, but I couldn't miss the opportunity to come on the show today. First of all, may I wonder why France now win to the Zine, and then me come on the show and see one particular man whenever we not yet in our life in our France first. Jesus of mercy.
No, but I was
Lord.
gifted this France jersey by a friend.
Anyways, I think for me, I don't think France have nothing to be embarrassed about, right? Furthermore, it was Argentina that won, and a few French fans might be Argentine Messi supporters as well, and would have loved them to have won the game, barring it wasn't against they weren't playing against France, right? I was reminded at work just this past week that predicted that predict that I predicted Argentina to have reached the World Cup final, and it's based off what Ham just said a while ago. Their togetherness, the way they play, their aggressiveness, and based off that, I told somebody like 2 months ago that I think Argentina would make it to the final. I wasn't too sure about France, but France came into the game. I don't know what it was for the first 45 minutes. What was it? This was it the illness that was going through the camp? Bodies are weak because of medication that is in the bodies or whatever it is. But we were absolutely garbage. But if you should take away that 45 minutes from the game, right, for France. I think France was absolutely outstanding for the next 45. And going even into extra time, I think France controlled the tempo of the game now. And Messi got a goal against, basically against the run of play. I personally blame Hugo for that goal. Yeah, you saved that. But when you have to be very sure about what you're doing, putting that ball right back in front of your goal, right? You have to be sure about what you're doing as a goalkeeper. I would have preferred him pushing that ball around the post and have Argentina get the corner from it. But regardless, Messi scored. You're thinking, oh crap, is it done? Is it not done? Penalty or no penalty with the handball? Mbappe got the shot off. It's on target. Ball hit the handball every day penalty. But can we reserve a moment in time to talk about Kylian Mbappe? How good this kid is, right? And for the French fans turning up now, seeing Kylian Mbappe with a hat trick in the final, you're saying, "Ooh, maybe, just maybe, we should have won it, right?" And who would have thought that you would have come into a World Cup final, scored a hat trick, and you're on the losing end of what happened, right? So at the end of the day, I think France got I thought it was Turam, but I look back at the replay and it wasn't Turam. It was the other kid on the right hand side. What's his name again?
Colomwani.
Yeah, yeah. He got a beautiful opportunity to win the game in the dying moments for France. A lot of persons saying big save, but I am saying inexperience. That's what I am saying. If we had an experienced player on that, I think France win the game 4-3. And I say inexperienced because right across to his left was Kylian Mbappe open. Nice little pass across, and it's 4-3 for sure.
Yeah,
For
but
sure.
Bones,
4-3.
but Bones, at that particular moment, at the speed of which everything is happening. Remember, we have the advantage, Josh, of being able to see it from above. We can see the entire pitch, right? Remember that Colomwan is bearing down on goal. 10 times out of 10, I want my attacker to take the shot.
Right.
And yes, I understand Bones' line of argument where he's referring to inexperience. But remember, Josh, this save is similar to that save that Iker Casillas, and we saw him today before the match, coincidentally, that he effected on Arjen Robben, and Robben was clean through. And so sometimes goalkeepers get lucky.
And that's in 2010, right? 2010.
Yes, in 2010. And many persons initially were lambasting Robben for missing that chance. But when you look back at the replay, Robben did what? Robben basically sent Casillas the wrong way. Casillas just lifted his right leg and deflected it wide at the post. Martinez is a big imposing frame. At 6 feet 4 inches, he made himself big. Colomo, he got the shot off. Yes, it's always 6-1, Josh. Half is the other. The glass is half full or half empty. He missed the chance because at the end of the day, that's what strikers get paid to do, to put the ball in the back of the net. But also on the other side, I think a big save. But also quickly before Bones gets back into this particular line of conversation, mention to Lautaro Martinez. That touch that preceded that third goal for Argentina, where he got the return pass and then fired the shot off. That touch to cushion that ball that was falling from so high into Messi's path initially. I think that was sublime. I think that was the touch of genius. Not saying that Lautaro is a genius. It was a sublime touch, and I think in the grand scheme, I think we look past things, but simple things like those, I think are really, really very, very crucial. So yes, Colomoani should have taken a chance, but I think also you have to, Bones, when you look at it, that Martinez did himself justice by making himself so big. And he also made another save where it was very, very crucial. He only made two saves, dare I say, because Mbappe beat him 3 times. But I
The one
think in
from
that big
Turam though was
moment,
spectacular. One of
yeah,
the
yeah,
best saves.
yes, yep.
Bones, right?
Yeah.
Levon, give me that bag of stuff to give you because you're correct for bag your face. Because you were
No, man.
recording
Yo,
throughout.
no, I'm not coward. To be honest,
You were recording throughout the
no,
final.
no. Listen,
You up you can
no.
equalize.
Let me make it absolutely clear. I was not coward. I was away from my phone. To be honest, I was away from my phone. Honestly, I was watching the game with my friends at a barber shop, right? And I put down my phone because beside the Argentinian fan, and I left the phone there because I decided that I wasn't going to sit beside him. And this was when they were 2-0 up, right? So that's why I wasn't in the group, honestly talking. No, no, we know me not hide. We got this almost every weekend with, we go through this, hey, we go to this Arsenal every weekend. We feel like we know what disappointment is weekend after weekend. So it is fine. It is
No,
all
no,
fine. Nah, hide. But you see,
yeah, but you're on the grandest of stages, Sherwin. And listen, how convenient it is that is when France equalize the short. Man, move from there, man.
no, Frank, no. You go show up at a time. Of course, you go show up. Come have to show on the picture cause I would. But you talk about the equalize, right? Right, you hit the nail on the head. What a goal from Kylian Mbappe. Eh?
Yes,
Yeah,
And
it
a
was
it
a
was a
moment
stunning
where
goal,
goal,
you
a
need
stunning goal.
right?
It it was a
And
stunning goal, Jack.
he didn't have to take 2 touches,
Because
right? One
because
and bam.
no.
normal attackers will take a touch, and I saw Levon allude to this in a post on social media. So true, because the ball was at a height where you figure that he should have probably taken a touch, but such is his confidence. And we saw him
Right.
score a similar goal in the Champions League earlier in the group stages where the ball was over against Juventus and he just fired a shot. So this is something that he has a lot of experience doing, striking a falling ball. And I think that was what caught Martinez out because Martinez wasn't set and he got a shot off so quickly that Martinez couldn't react in time. So it was a fabulous goal.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw one of the commenters mentioned it.
Yeah, and you said such was his
yeah,
confidence, yes, because he had to be very, very confident in actually taking that shot at the time rather than taking 2 touches.
yeah,
But
yeah.
trust
But
me, that was very, very
yeah,
the goal.
Josh, when you talk about needing your best player to step up in a World Cup final when you're 2-0 down, that's what Kylian Mbappe did today. He stepped up. Like he had like his second penalty was full of so much confidence. You could see the confidence ringing out in that
He was
second penalty.
anonymous there, Bones,
Yeah?
but Bones, he was anonymous for 75 minutes though. He was a mere passenger for 75 minutes. So
Right,
yes,
right. And but
he got yes,
why was he a passenger? Because Argentina had a tactical plan for him. That's
yes,
why he was a
but
passenger.
yes, but what I'm saying, right? The fact that you are the talisman on the team and the team is struggling so much, then you have to affect the game by doing different things. For the first 20 minutes, and I'm not talking about even when Argentina scored. I'm talking before. You saw the plan, and we know what the plan was going to be. The Paul Josh was always going to play out on that right hand side, almost like what a Jordan Henderson did, right? That's DePaul's stock and trade. He's going to add and help Romero and obviously Molina in that half space to nullify the threat of Mbappe. But Mbappe made himself an easy target to be marked, right? And you saw the physical challenges coming in. We knew this was going to happen. So that's my issue with him early doors, that he was too stationary at target. And it's not somebody like a Giroud who, is nominally a stationary target to begin with and is devoid of real mobility. Yes, Giroud has good movement, but he's just not quick. Mbappe is someone who is rapid, right? He's the quickest player on the pitch, bar none. And I think he made himself too easily nullified in the early stages, and that continued even after that first goal went in and through the first half. And I saw Dima mentioned, and as a
This is
very
one
solid
of the things
point.
they use against him to harm, that the fact that at times he's too easily nullified. So a lot of persons will use the fact that normally
He
when
wasn't.
he
He
has
wa-
limited skill set compared
he
to
wa-
like the great players
he
like
wasn't necessarily being given that space. And when he gets turned and is able to face you up, then you really have to fall him because there's no way you can stop. There's no substitute for pace. But when you can compress that space, then that is when you have your best chance of really getting at him. We saw where he affected the game late on, Josh, because the game became stretched. And changes are going to be made, players are going to get tired, players are going to lose concentration. When players get tired, that's when mentally they are going to be prone to making errors. And I think barring that last 15 minutes, I think in regulation time he was anonymous. Obviously, he stepped up on those big moments and he really, really came to the party. But you figure that he could have done more early in the game. And I think the
earlier.
same thing
Yeah,
applied
I agree
also
on that.
for Antoine Griezmann because we knew that Griezmann and
I would-
Mbappe were the two players who were the most prominent in that French attack. And for the time when both were on the field, they really, really were, for all intents and purposes, passengers to say the least. We saw Mbappe's influence rise as the game continued, but I think he could have done more earlier in the game.
And as I said, Griezmann was like totally marked out throughout the game. I was like surprised by that. Got given in the game in England, right? It was all over the pitch, right? Running into challenges or trying to tackle players and so forth. Even get a yellow
Of
card. It was
course,
all
of
over the
course.
pitch. This
And
game it
Josh,
wasn't like that, and I wasn't
Josh,
expecting it to be.
as as our commenter is saying, this is so obvious. Mbappe is not an ordinary player.
It's not.
Coaches make plans for ordinary run of the mill players. So obviously France was going into this game knowing that Mbappe is going to be double teamed, he's going to be denied space, he's going to have challenges. And I think also when he was being played through the middle, I didn't see the merit of that because he doesn't like playing through the middle. He has said this on numerous occasions, and he scored that crucial volley goal to bring it to 2-2, playing half space slightly to the left, where he enjoys most of his joy for club and country. So I figured that he could have still affected the game with more movement and Giroud on the pitch because I just figured that Deschamps, yes, he got the game back on even terms, but I think he probably pulled the plug too quickly, especially on Giroud. Dembele was anonymous, and we have spoken about this. He is one of those players who, at 25, he will have to do a lot of soul searching because he has so much talent, Josh, but he's no
Yeah.
longer a young player.
In fact, he was seen as the most talented French player at one time. He's over
Precisely.
Mbappe. Like the most talented French player.
His game has not evolved from his days at Stade Rennes. I saw Adrian mention in BVB. I'm going back even to Rennes. When he came through, he was seen as this generational talent, right? Even more talented than Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe's game was more polished because Mbappe was a better finisher at youth level. But Dembele's skill set and his ability to go both ways, his ambidextrous, all of that, right? Acceleration, and on his days a match winner. But he goes missing far too often. And I think in a game of this nature, he went AWOL. And then his biggest contribution was to give away that crucial penalty.
And I don't want to go get ahead of myself, but Mbappe now has 13 World Cup goals, right?
No, 12.
12. 4 from the last World Cup and
And
8
8.
this World Cup. And the record is what, 15 by
16.
16 by
Miroslav
the
Klose.
German. Right.
Klose.
Do you see Mbappe breaking that record?
You would think so, but I will caution because after
Yes.
we saw, and I'm not in
Thomas
any way,
Muller.
shape, or
You're gonna
form
mention the Muller
comparing Thomas Muller, right? But when Muller had those two back-to-back World Cups in 2010 and 2014, the trajectory was that if Muller played 2 more, then you would fancy him breaking Klose's record, right? But it hasn't panned out. There's no surety in football. We don't know if France will even qualify for the next World Cup. Yes, they are obviously an ultra talented, but there are so many things that we can speculate on. But what we have seen from him, 4 goals and then up with 8 goals. This is like this is stuff of legends. It's so sad that he came out on the losing end. But as Bone said, to score 3 goals and then to end on the losing side, it will irk him for some time. Yet.
Mr. Ham, I'll see somebody challenging your point that they are disagreeing. Unseen Sports TV and Unseen Sport TV, guys, that is Robbie.
What you should say is that Mbappe did not get any supply and he was playing.
Robert, sorry. He
was playing to which team statics? Mbappe has a free. Hold on, Josh. Mbappe has a free role, right? Listen, France usually plays a 4-2-3-1, right? Now, those 3 attackers, they are flowing. We have seen in previous games where Mbappe and Dembele have switched, telling effect. Against Denmark early doors, Mbappe and Dembele switch. So it's not a case where they are stuck and they have to play a particular position. You understand? That's not it. My issue is that he allowed himself to be too easily nullified for a player of his obvious talent and his obvious influence. Antoine Griezmann and Kylian Mbappe, they allowed themselves to be too easily nullified in that first 20 minutes. And that set the tone because they couldn't get on the ball. Now listen, when a player of that talent and that influence can't get on the ball, what you have to do, you have to do something different. You can't, they're denying you space, Josh, in that half space, in that wide left area, right? Theo Hernandez isn't getting a chance to go forward either. Drift in field, right? Give them something different to look at. Drop deeper, right? So you can actually get turned and face them.
Yeah, so I think you will, yeah, and I agree with you on what you're saying, Mr. Guru. And just to let you guys, not Robbie Unseen Sport TV, but he was actually trying to say that he's agreeing that they weren't getting the reason why they weren't doing well in the first half is because they weren't getting any service. That is what he's trying to say. Right, Bones, you're back.
But not only that, Ham only mentioned one tactical move when he could have made. Dembele never did have a good game either. The 2 of them could have did switch side.
That's what I did say that. I did say that.
Oh, you said that too.
I did say that, Bones, because Bones, I said that front 3 because sometimes Griezmann joins and makes that front 4, right? But it's fluid at times, especially in the case because we saw against Denmark where Dembele and Mbappe switched to telling effect. And Bones and I spoke about this in a chat where we're saying that Dembele was the best player on the field for the first half because he had the toasting of both wing backs for Denmark on that day. Yes, his influence waned in the second half. But the fact is, what I'm saying is that he, in the case of Mbappe and Dembele, they could have switched because it's obvious that Argentina came with a plan and then you have to now negate this plan, right, Josh? Nullify it and then grow into the game. The point is that France allowed themselves to be too easily Bones. For me, for the first 20 minutes, because that sets the tone. Yes, Argentina didn't score, but Argentina's confidence just grew exponentially because they were dominating and their tactics were working. Your tactics aren't working, so do something about it. No, don't wait until you're 2-0 behind to effect change, because the changes don't have to be personnel. It can be tactical changes, just simple tweaks, right? And that's my issue. That's my issue.
What are you guys made of Argentine tactics though? This coach,
which one? Who?
His starting 11, number 1, and the way his team set about him.
France?
The Argentine coach, given the fact that I think, even though I mentioned it earlier, and the fact
he
that
got his one.
Di Maria, which he did not start.
Listen, Josh. Let me tell you something. Let me help straighten Ham point. You talk about. I think his tactical moves were absolutely brilliant in the first 45 minutes. I thought he lost his way a little bit in the last 45 with how he set up the team tactically, because all of a sudden France started getting the space that they needed to play, right?
But you're saying they were sitting back trying to defend them.
But quickly, Josh. Bones, hold on 1 second. What we have to understand also that Argentina could not maintain that intensity, right? For 90 minutes, right? So yes, I understand totally, right? But my thing is that once Di Maria came off, they lost that verticality. They lost the ability to stretch the play because Acuna is really a left back who was filling in front of Tagliafico. So, but the intensity that they played with Josh for the first 40 minutes, it was off the chart, and France just couldn't live with them. And if you had said this to us probably before the World Cup, you would say, but France has athletic players, but Argentina was just so ferocious for that 45 minutes that France just could not got overrun in midfield.
And before this final, they would have gotten a penalty. Remember, I was saying that on the podcast and stuff. But what I realized is that France would have gotten 2.
Yo, Josh, no day. Yo, no day upon the face of the earth is that a penalty except today. Argentina penalty. No day except today. Disagree? There is no. Listen, Di Maria already hit the grass when Dembele touching foot. Yeah, Dembele no figure over. Dembele no figure over and take a beating like that. But you recover good, kind of chew him off. That is no penalty.
The thing about
grass already.
Josh,
grass,
that penalty, that tackle was the tackle of an attacker.
That's a penalty.
The man gets goal side of your bones.
What tackle?
The tackle that Dembele made, that's a tackle of an attacker who doesn't know how
there
to
was no tackle, Ham. There was no tackle.
Bones, take off the French.
Take off the French shirt. Bones, that was I think the referee got all his decisions basically.
Yes, all the because right. When you saw that one with Marcus Thuram, you felt like it was a penalty, and when you saw it, but then you saw that it was a clear embellishment.
That one was very, very good because I thought it was a penalty as well.
Yes, in real time. But Bones, look at the reaction of Dembele when he concedes that penalty. The look at you, it's on his face. It's soft, but Bones, the way how the game is ref now, and we spoke about this before you joined the podcast. The way how the game is ref now in today's era, that's going to be called a penalty every day of the week and twice on Sundays, because once he gets goal side of you can't because Di Maria does the proper thing, Josh, as an attacker. He gets himself between Dembele and the ball. So if Dembele is trying to make a play on the ball, he has to around him, but he can't go through him. And yes, it was not much contact, but there was enough contact to warrant a call.
Contact. And it's either a penalty or it's not a penalty. Because
me not agree. Me not agree with you.
I agree with the soft term. It's either it is.
No. When I say soft, in terms of
you, I know that you're saying it was like
in relative to how the game is played now, as opposed to 25 years ago, right? But that is a call that we see every day of the week now, especially with VR. If that goes to VR, it's not going to be ruled out, Bones, because guess what? The referee did not make a clear and obvious error, and that's where it is. If it's not a clear and obvious error, then the on-field ruling is going to stand, and he wasn't even called over to look at it because Dembele was in the guilt. He erred. He made a foolish challenge.
Hey,
you're saying something?
Me not agree with you one bit. First of all, me not say soft. I did not say soft. Me say I no foul none at all. I did not say soft. It's not a foul. Normally, you would hear me saying, outside the box a foul. No foul, none at all. Can I hear me?
I hear you.
Disingenuous though.
No, me I said no. Yo, me go back and watch back the replay. Di Maria already eat grass when Dembele touching foot.
No, Bones. You're going too far now. And I see Andre Scott here, Josh, quickly. Some persons watch these games with a preconceived notion, right? And they have issues because they want a particular result. You understand,
Andre
Josh?
just
So
took
they're
his
going.
one touch person. I
I
can tell that
I
about
I
Andre.
I know
He's a
that. I
big
know.
Chrissy fan and he wanted
I
first.
know
So
that. I know that.
Argentina.
I know that.
I know Andre Scott is one of those persons. So don't pay much for
Oh,
that.
anyways, we can agree to disagree. Anyways, whatever.
But overall though, you agree, Bones, that this is the best World Cup finals because that
I've
handling.
been I've been watching World Cup finals since 1998, and this is the best I have seen. Me can't talk about 94 or 1990 because me never watch them. Me I talk about my era. My era started 1998, and this has been best, the best we have seen. I think this is for a long while. This is a first 6 goal final, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
first.
very very long while, very very long while.
We were saying it's the
But yeah,
first. Yeah. And
yeah,
guess what? This tournament also have the record for the most goals scored during the World Cup history.
right,
172, it break the record from 2014 with 171. So now we
right.
have a World Cup where the most goals have been scored in a tournament. So this will eclipse, in most persons' view, as probably the greatest World Cup in
That's
history.
the modern era, though, Bones.
In the modern era.
In terms of the 6 goals, that's the modern
Yeah, that's
era.
the modern era.
The
The
modern
tournament was
era.
making reference to. Yeah, he was making
Yeah.
reference to the modern era. But
Yeah, because yeah,
because in the 1966, I thought they had what?
4-2. It was
4-2,
4-2.
right? 6
for
goals.
two.
Right?
And in
Yeah.
58, it was what, 5-2?
Allow me
So
I
that's
tell
another season.
the last World
And the
Cup
last
never
World Cup
four
was
two.
4-2. Was 4-2
Yeah.
with yes, because Bonesy, you are forgetting that Hugo Lloris had a gaff and gave Mandzukic a red
Ah,
card.
yeah. But
Yeah,
a good final still. I one
very,
of the
very good
best finals
final.
ever. Very good.
Argentina, they fully deserve it. At no time I thought, even when France equalized, I thought they looked really, really like they were going to lose that trophy. And I
And
used to say
Josh,
to Levon
quickly,
that if you go to penalties, because I've always have a problem with certain teams how they take penalties, and
but
I said to Levon that if you
but
go to
Josh,
penalties, Argentina is going to win.
Josh, the one time this World Cup where we saw Argentina struggle and look totally bereft of ideas in terms of defensively was against the Dutch when the Dutch went direct, right? And
Right.
that's another reason why I figured that France should have kept Giroud on the field because yes, while they don't look like they are able to play against pace, they have not necessarily been exposed much against pace over the
I
course of the tournament.
I
But
agree.
when they played against the Dutch for that 10 minutes, they looked like a team that was clueless. And I figured that Giroud, that's his stock and trade. Service into the box from out wide, early service. I think he could have had some joy. But
I
as Boone said, it's a final that
yeah,
will live long in the memory.
yeah.
As a French supporter, I tip my hat to the French because we have had a lot of adversity, both in the build up to the final and also in the tournament
It's
on a whole, because we lost players, and that's not an excuse because let me put that right out there. But to lose so many players and then to perform so well, I think they lost no marks in defeat. To come back against a rampant Argentinian team that went 2-0 up and were like looking like $1 million. And then also crucially to
that's
come back
champions mentality.
again, to come back again after Messi scores that third goal. You figure that this is it now because we
Yeah.
have expended so much energy, and then to really bring it back, it's a bitter pill to swallow. But I think they would have lost no marks in defeat.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
System
that's true.
TV, when we have a show in the midweek, you can actually come on because I'm going to wrap up right now. I said I was going to end by 2:30, but final word, Bones.
Yeah, as I said, congrats to Messi. He has finally put his name on top of the GOAT argument now. He is absolutely the best now in history. With all the trophies he's won. There's no doubt about it. No, we can't talk about it now,
And that's a
please.
debate I'm not going to
It
go into.
it a go get stale if people continue to say no because he is now the greatest. He has won every single thing and he is the greatest, right? Um, France did well. I'm very proud of the guys with, as Ham said, with all the injuries and everything
And four
that came.
finals, the last 7 World Cup for
Four
France.
finals in the last 7 World Cup, even
Most
though we lose
consistent team.
two.
Losing
Yeah,
to one penalties.
losing 2-1 penalties in that no look good, but you know we pick up ourselves, and the talent group of France is very very impressive and very interesting, and even Levant tag us in something the other day.
You're breaking up, man.
So yeah.
Yes, all right. Your final minute, Mr.
Yes, Josh, as you said, it is unquestionably the best. It had everything, this tournament on a whole. And for a tournament that was met with so much skepticism before it started, and the naysayers were writing it off, I think Qatar has delivered. It was just enthralling from the group stages all the way to the final. And what a better way to end to end the tournament than on this note. I think as Boone said, France will come again because they have a lot of young players. When you look at this group, many of these players are actually just wetting their proverbial beaks in the water. So you expect them to be around in 4 years, 8 years time as well for some of them, because Kamavinga, who came on, he's just 20 years old, big talent.
Yeah,
Mbappe
and I think
is
he
still,
plays
is
very
still
well in the
just
team, man.
is just 24, especially playing out of position and all of that. So yes, it is very good that the likes of Otamendi, I'm not going to mention Messi, the likes of Otamendi, Papu Gomez, Otamendi is 34. You saw Sergio Aguero being the biggest cheerleader. He would have played a part in this team, but we know of his ailment. But I think this victory is also for someone like him. So all in all, I think they are deserving winners, because when you see the work that Scaloni has put in to basically reshape the culture surrounding this team after the malaise of the Sampaoli era in 2018, and then for the Copa, and then to back it up, and then to go
Again, the
against
World
the
Cup.
Green, because they had lost the first game and people were writing them off. And I think the biggest moment for Argentina, quickly, Josh, biggest Messi moment, and I think probably you and I will disagree. Let me ask you, what is your biggest Messi moment? One defining moment for this World Cup?
Is one defining moment?
Yes, the
I
biggest
would
one
have
for
to,
you.
I would have to really look back again.
All right, for me, the biggest one is when he collects that ball against Mexico and he scores that goal, because it is getting
That
late,
was the
right?
game
It's a
that he
must win.
scored a goal
It,
and an assist. This was a
yes.
game in the knockout that he scored one goal
No, no,
and
no,
he,
no, no. I'm talking about the group stage game, the
the group
second game
stages.
against
Okay.
Mexico. Remember, they lose against Saudi Arabia match day one, right? Second game, the second half, right? Mexico isn't carrying a threat, but Mexico is defending for their lives. Argentina isn't creating anything, and then he scores basically from the edge of the area against Guillermo Ochoa. I think that was the biggest defining moment for me in terms of Lionel Messi's World Cup, because that gave them the belief. Enzo Fernandez scored and put the game to bed, and then they got the confidence, they got 3 points. But if they hadn't won that game, Josh, you figure that probably they wouldn't have even come out
He
of the
also
group.
got an
So
assist in that game as well.
precisely,
That was the
but
game I was talking, because it's not the Croatia game. I know before the Croatia game, he took a game. It's only one game this tournament I really see him actually took the game by the mancha himself and just take it over, and actually basically was the
but
person
because
that
because
allowed the
because
side who actually won that.
Because the thing is, and why I say that, Josh, quickly, is that people always talk about this nonsense about scoring goals in group stage versus in the knockout stage. If you don't score in the group stages, you aren't going to get into the knockout
Exactly.
stages. So
And
I
given
think
the
this
position that
this
they were in.
argument, precisely, that is akin to a knockout goal, because it carries so much weight. Because if you don't score those goals, Messi's and obviously Enzo, then you don't get the requisite points to be in a position to get out of the group to begin with. So I think this whole argument about which goals are more important, it's all about the context, because some group stage games are virtually knockout games. And I said they played 6 finals and they won them all, and they won 2 penalty shootouts on the way. I think my hat off to them. A brilliant tournament and deserved winners.
And Tuesday, all right, Tuesday, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the tournament more in depth Tuesday, like players of the tournament, coaches and their tactics, the young players, as well as teams' performances and what the future holds going
No
forward
problem.
for international tournament. So we'll look at it more in depth. And by that time, I will probably give you my messy moment.
Okay. I think you'll
Right,
probably
so
agree with me after
I think I'm
looking
going to argue
looking.
with the Mexican one because I know that there was a game like that before. But thank you, Mr. Ham, the guru. Big up to just to let you guys know, big up to Elton Gardner for winning our Sports Friends World Cup competition. So big up Elton Gardner, big up yourself. Big up to Let's Care Medical, who was our main sponsor throughout the World Cup. And Let's Care Medical, they're in Mandeville, Santa Cruz, and Montego Bay, and they're owned by Dr. Letman, more popular known as Shaky Shake. So big up yourself, guys. We will be here on Tuesday where we look at a more in-depth World Cup tournament in Qatar, arguably the greatest World Cup tournament throughout history. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And once again, congrats to Argentina and big up to all the Argentina fans. I'm your host, Josh. See you on Tuesday.